What is up, everybody? Welcome here to the Community News Comedy Calendar, this show where every single week we go through what's happening, what happened, and what's going to be coming up in South Florida comedy. Last week, guys, if you have missed it, I want you to go back and watch our show. We interviewed Mario Ramil. It is fantastic. It's doing really good views. Mario has a show coming up in November, Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so definitely go check that out. Actually, first show just sold out. So if you want to get tickets to the show, it's only going to be for that 10 p.m. show that night. But go check out that last episode because we are super excited about it, and we thought that it was a really, really good episode. But starting off, I am Sebastian Alvarez. I am not just a local comedian down here, but I'm one of the managers over at the Improv, and I am joined, as I am every single week, by my co-host, Art Roche. How are you doing, Art?
Doing pretty good, Sebastian. Just found out that before we got to the studio, the Miami Hurricanes, Lady Canes basketball team was here in studio, shouting out their new schedule that's coming out. I'm looking forward to a specific game on January 16th. It's going to be one of our producers' birthday.
Yep.
And we're going to be hoping to get her out there. We have the Cavender twins, always very, very popular online. I love women's basketball, so seeing the ladies basketball team in here promoting their stuff, they're going to have a great season this year. We'll probably keep you guys up to date here on the Comedy Calendar.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to try and get the Cavender twins on the show. We want to get them on the comedy calendar, get them involved in local South Florida comedy. You know, they're already getting so much NIL money from local Miami businesses. We might as well throw some their way as well. Absolutely. But shout out to the Lady Canes. First off, though, starting off with last week and what's happening in South Florida comedy last week, we had a great lineup of shows over at the Miami Improv. We had Tim Dillon headlining, and I couldn't have been happier with the performances that we were given. Everybody came. It was sold out to the actual gills. Every single show was packed out, and boy, did he deliver to all those fans. Everyone came excited for Tim Dillon. They wanted Tim Dillon, and they not only got Tim Dillon, but they also got two other fantastic comics that he brought with him. They got John Kennedy and Andrew Vickers, two just really, really good, solid, young openers, up-and-coming comics that are going to be headlining themselves very, very soon. But you were actually hanging out with them a little bit too, Art. How was the weekend for you?
That's right, Sebi. This weekend was easily one of the best weekends that I've had since I started working at the Improv. Tim Dillon is an absolute beast. I mean, he packed out 5 shows. Big shout out to Miami Improv security. They were helping me sit people front to back. I mean, you know, it's basically 250 people show up in a 20-minute interval, and you got to get them sat, and another 150 kind of come in slowly, you know? Mm-hmm. So big shout out to those guys there. As far as Tim Dillon, he's a beast. Every single audience member there knew his material, knew what he was about. But for me personally, the highlight was being able to watch Andrew Vickers. He happens to be my cousin. So I'm not even the funniest person in my family, I just found out. But he did an amazing job. Him and John Henry Kennedy, another young comedian coming up, they just killed it the whole weekend. They switched back and forth, host and feature, which was really cool. But I got to see them a little bit backstage. We had Dark Vision there for one of the Saturday shows. So all those pictures that you see are Dark Vision pictures.
Nice.
We have some videos coming out from those guys as well. So we were able to get some video shot. So it's just an amazing weekend all the way around. I mean, I can't wait for Tim Dillon to come back. My cousin, Andrew, he actually just moved from Boston to Austin. So he's doing full-time comedy. I mean, I can't wait to see next time he comes, and I can't wait to see when he headlines here at the Improv.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Absolutely. I loved all 3 of those guys all weekend. Like you said, killing it, doing their things. Really, really fun weekend, and especially just having that energy just throughout the Improv all weekend was really, really fun, and especially it carried over onto the Sunday show as well because Tim Dillon wasn't there. We had another comedian come through, Tina Frimmel, a really, really fun show. She's been blowing up on social media recently. But I think Ricky Cruz was also on that show. It was a 2-man show, so we had our boy Ricky Cruz come through. He absolutely destroyed. He's going to be up in New York actually this week doing the New York Comedy Festival. Same with Brittany Brave. She's also up there doing New York Comedy Festival. I believe she has a headlining night for the New York Comedy Festival at one of the clubs that are involved there. So if you go to Brittany's page or you go to Ricky's page, you can actually see Ricky and Tina right there on the screen right now. But if you go to either of their pages, you'll be able to get all that information about when they're going to be performing up there in New York. If you're in New York watching this, even though it is the SoFlo Comedy Calendar, if you're going to be in New York, if you're in South Florida, by all means, go and catch a Miami show up there. But
and I will say it's a South Florida Comedy Calendar, but it's South Florida in spirit, not only geography. So if any South Florida comedian, if they get out there, if they're doing big shows somewhere else, send me the flyers, send me the info. We will definitely shout you out. South Florida comedy is growing, and we are going everywhere. We're going to New York this week. So
yeah, and we had a South Florida comic that displaced actually from us, that is now came back this weekend, and that was Dean Gonzalez. He was over with Ken Flores over in Dania. He's another guy who's a Miami product, but he's out there in LA doing his thing, and now really not too much in LA anymore either, because he's always traveling, he's always doing his own thing. But he was down here with Ken Flores, another good show that happened this weekend over in Dania.
Not only that, but the day before that, on Thursday, he actually opened for Russell Peters at the Hard Rock as well.
Yeah, and on Sunday, Russell Peters was also here in Naples at Off the Hook. They did a few shows there at Off the Hook.
That's awesome.
Weekend too.
That's awesome. Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna keep my eyes on Russell Peters. Every time he's in town, I missed this one, but I'll make sure to let you guys know next time.
100%, because that was one. All those clubs that are like kind of spread out through that the Naples, South Florida, they're all really bubbling up now, and a lot of the out of town talent from all across the country are taking notice, and they're coming down here, and they're taking advantage of the great crowds that we have, and the good audiences, and the fun time. Because reality is, you come down here to South Florida, no matter where you are, as long as you're past Orlando, you're gonna have a good time.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean, you can pretty much throw a dart at a board, and you're gonna land on a good time.
I will say on the Sunday show as well, it was one of the best audiences that I've seen for the Tina Frimo show. Amazing audience. She actually, after the show, she did a meet and greet. She met with every single person in the audience.
And gave everybody a lot of time. Like everyone got to hang out with Tina if you wanted to at the end of the show.
Her merch was, so I helped her sell a little bit of merch. Mm-hmm. Her merch was a tote bag and stickers. So very simple. Pretty much anyone that came across could buy a tote bag for groceries.
Right.
Very affordable. And then when you did the pictures with her, she actually signed the tote bags as well. So it was an amazing experience. It was a really, really cool show on Sunday. I really, really enjoyed it.
Nice, dude. That was this weekend, though, that just passed in South Florida comedy. We're going to now get into what's coming up this week, Monday through Sunday, and what you can have to look forward to if you are a comedy fan in South Florida. Starting off on Monday, we got our good friends over at Thank You Miami. We got Alex and we got Danny hosting the show, and Alex obviously running the venue of Thank You Miami, but the fire's up right there. We got a few of our friends up there. Sean Kent, who's actually another South Florida comic who is living somewhere else but came back down. Another continuation of that theme, but Sean's going to be down here doing that room tonight, so I'm really excited. You and me, Art, that is, are going to be out at Thank You Miami as well today, so definitely, if you want to come out and do the open mic as well, I highly recommend it, because it's one of the best places to get your first set done. Yeah. If you've never done comedy, if you want to just get it done for the first time, not only is it a good environment for you to do your first set, but what I always say to people is, if you're just getting started, this is a cool place to come hang out with the local comics, the people that go from, open micers who've just started a couple months ago to the people who have been doing this for 10 years. You can catch guys like Ricky Cruz, who we were just talking about, who are going to be up in New York and had just opened for Tina this weekend on Sunday. He pops in to Thank You all the time. You got guys like Dom P,
that's right,
who's always at Thank You, that he runs Have Nots. He runs some of the best shows in town all the time. He drops in there. So if you're somebody who's just getting started in comedy and you want to ingratiate yourself and kind of get to know what the scene is like, Thank You Miami on Monday is the spot. You can go get up on the open mic and come hang out and talk with all the comics and kind of get a feel for what the vibe is, Yeah,
I'll add one thing. So they have it Mondays and Fridays. So twice a week you get 2 at-bats to get and go do some comedy. And people often ask me like, yeah, but where's the best place? Thank You Miami is the best place. To start doing comedy, it's the best place. And one of the main reasons is it's so simple. You walk into the bar, there's a sheet of paper on the bar. You put your name on it, and you're on the mic. It's that simple. There's no online sign up. There's no pre-approval process. There's no vetting. It's just you get there early, put your name on the sheet, and you get to go up. It's the best.
Yeah, it's really good. And I would say also the one of the cool things about Thank You Miami too is that it's always a very inviting audience. You know what I mean? The audience, whoever's there, they're there to have a good time. They're there to laugh. They're there to enjoy themselves. So anytime that you come out, you're gonna have a good time. And also, the food there, fantastic. The drinks there, fantastic. Every beer that's on the draft is a craft beer that is handpicked by Alex himself for his draft. So he's not doing anything, he's not big corporate stuff.
Mm-hmm. Are they all local beers?
I believe if I look at the menu, I don't know if he has anything that's not listed on that menu on the draft. I'm pretty sure everything that's there is listed, but they're all small batch IPAs
awesome.
or different little individual things. He's got the thank you lager that he has a local Miami brewery that brews it for him. That's my personal favorite. If you go and you get a thank you lager, say that Sebastian sent you for it, because it's one of my favorite beers in town, period. But that's thank you on a Monday. Definitely head out there. Moving on to Tuesday, though, we got a few shows over at the Improv. These are rescheduled shows, correct? These were happening, I believe, in October they were supposed to happen, and then we've moved them now to this week in November, and they are Spanish shows, and they're some of the biggest Spanish shows we got. This is Escuela de Nada, which is basically a live podcast that happens on stage that these comics are going to come out. I believe they might do a little bit of time, like to start off the show. I think they come out and each one does 10 to 15, and then they get out together and do stand-up, they do their podcast. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if I remember correctly, that's how it was structured last time.
And it's 3 comedians that are going to be up there, so I'm very, very much looking forward to it. They have 3 shows. It's going to be 2 on Tuesday and 1 on Wednesday. As you said, it was a reschedule, so one of the things I did yesterday when I got to the Improv was call back some of the people that had questions about the show or answer some emails regarding ticket movements and stuff like that. These shows, everyone I spoke to is super excited about it. They're going to be basically, like you said, doing material and then a podcast episode afterwards, but they're doing it 3 times back to back to back. So it's going to be a lot of different material going through, a lot of different energy. The show will be in Spanish. The whole show is in Spanish. So if anyone's ever wondering, when are the Spanish shows happening, this week we got a ton of Spanish shows. Great opportunity to come out to the Miami Improv.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. And we actually also, on Wednesday, they are doing one show. Escuela de Nada is doing one show, but earlier, the 8 p.m. show is going to be a different comedian, also in Spanish. I believe he's with the same crew, but it is going to be Miguel Redondo.
No, Manuel Ángel Redondo.
There you go. So he's going to be coming through. He's done the Improv a few times already. He's going to be doing his own little headlining gig, I would assume. So that's going to be a lot of fun. He has a new liver, so he's going to be fully energized and ready to go. Interesting you put that here on the research page. That's dope. But yeah, shout out. If you want to come through and you want to have a good time, Wednesday, there's going to be 2 different shows. Tuesday, it's going to be the same show twice.
Absolutely.
So by all means, come through, enjoy.
Manuel, I will say that Manuel, he's Venezuelan. He's probably one of my favorite Venezuelan comedians. His wit is just second to none. On his webpage, he puts that he has a new liver. He's one of those comedians that will bring a joke book on stage, kind of as a gag, It's really, really interesting stuff. I'm excited to see the show.
Nice. I'm super excited for that show too. I'm super excited for that Tuesday, Wednesday, back to back. It's a little different for us at the Improv having crazy shows on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, but it's going to be fun to kind of get it done and have them come out and just sell the place out, because it is super, super packed out. If you want to get tickets, there's only a few left. So if you want to get them right now if they're available, please. Moving on to Thursday, though, we are going all the way downtown to one of my favorite shows in town, and that's Mode. It happens every single Thursday, guys. Ricky Cruz and Manny Garavito with Miami Comedy, they run that show every single week. Ricky's not going to be there because, like we said, he's going to be up in New York, but every other week that you go, you can see those 2 guys holding down the fort and doing really Miami's version of Kill Tony and having everybody go up. Who goes on the main show, they end up shifting over to a panel who's kind of like a panel of judges, as if it's like American Idol, where then the comics who are on the open mic will come up, they'll do their time, and then the comedians who are on the panel will get to comment, go back and forth, and kind of give their opinions or just roast them and make fun of them. It could go either way. It depends on how you do with your set.
It's usually going to involve getting roasted.
Most of the time.
The show's called Killing Joke. I went to, I think, the second one or third one when they had started many months ago. It was amazing. It was awesome. Brittany Brave was actually on the panel when I went up.
That's right.
I did not do too well. She ripped me apart a little bit. Well deserved. But I'm excited. We'll be back there this weekend. We don't have work this Thursday at the Improv, so we'll definitely be there. I wish Ricky was going to be there, but I'm excited to see who Manny Garavito will get to kind of replace Ricky, who's going to be the other kind of big headliner that's going to be roasting us, basically.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's like a little bit more than Kill Tony because it's 3 minutes. Instead of 1 minute, and then you get a panel discussion afterwards, so you can really add some good stuff to that.
I love it. Yeah, we're going to be out there on Thursday. That's at 8 p.m. in downtown. If you look up Mode, it is going to be the bar that is named Mode. That's not just the name of the show. That's the name of the actual venue. That's 8 p.m. on Thursday. And then also on Thursday, once that show is done, if you're out in Mode, you can shoot right over to Coconut Grove and head over to Taurus and catch us over there in Coconut Grove, because that's going to be our plan for Thursday. Mode, then Taurus. A lot of comics are doing it on Thursday, but it's a lot of fun. If you can't make it out to Mode and you live closer to Coconut Grove, come join us as well. That show starts at 8 p.m., sometimes a little bit later, but we got the main show and then an open mic. So if you want to come, the open mic runs super long. Talk to Art. He's going to be the man for the open mic. So if you pull up, you see that face, you see that smile, you'll be able to come through and be able to just say, hey, I want to get on, and they'll hook you up. They'll point you in the right direction and keep you informed if you want to do that.
And big shout out, Mike Daba. He's the main host there at Taurus. He keeps it going with Coconut Grove Comedy. So big shout out. Actually, you mentioned last week's episode with Mario, and Mario kind of mentioned that Taurus is the kind of room that makes real comedians. You know, I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it's a tough crowd. It's a tough room, but it's worth it. I mean, it puts hair on your chest, you know, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. And all the bartenders out there, Scott, Nigel, everyone, they're going to take care of you. You're going to have a good time. So please come out to Taurus on a Thursday. Even if it's not this Thursday, at some point, you're not going to regret it. I promise. Moving on to Friday, though, we got a few cool shows happening over in Miami at the Improv. We only have one show tonight, or that night, I'm sorry. So you're definitely going to want to come and enjoy it because it's going to be a one-night-only Mark Vieira. And if you don't know about Mark Vieira yet, man, you got to look this guy up because not only is he a local legend, he's been coming down and doing shows here in Miami for so long. Originally from New York, but he's kind of a Miami like adopted boy. You know, we love him at the Miami Improv, and we're so excited that he was able to come through and be able to do this. You've seen him on Netflix, NBC, Comedy Central, everything you see on the screen right there. One of the funniest guys I think that I've seen at the Improv. His characters, his energy, his voices. He's just so good, and he's doing an all-star comedy night at the Improv. So it's going to be him and a bunch of other really funny comedians that he endorses. And I know they're going to be great locals. So if you're someone who likes the local Miami comedy scene, if you're somebody who's been looking for maybe a more Miami-driven show that comes through, this is the time, 8 p.m. at the Miami Improv. Doors will be opening at 7 o'clock. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get your tickets now at miamiimprov.com.
And one thing I'll say, I can't agree more. I mean, his tour is literally called All-Star Comedy.
Yeah.
So he brings out the best. And as far as any comedian who shares stage time with other comedians, on his shows I've seen where he's, you know, everyone gets, all the openers, they get so much time that it makes it feel like two shows sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And it's a lot of fun. The energies are always good. The crowds are always good. So if you're coming out here, that's what you can expect on Friday at the Miami Improv, 8 p.m. Unfortunately, I won't be at that show. I wish I could be, but I am actually booked up in Boca Raton at Sadman Comedy Club. I'm beyond excited for this show because I've been working with the producers to try and figure out a date. They do it always on Friday, and as you can see, like we just said, Fridays are always kind of crazy at the Improv. I got lucky that it worked out this week, and I'm going to be doing the Riff Roulette over at Sadman Comedy Club, courtesy of Eric Graff and Casey Graves. I want to shout out both of those guys really quickly because they're doing amazing things up in the northern part of South Florida, you know, that Boca Raton, Dania Beach-ish area. They're absolutely killing it, and they're putting on shows that I am dying to go and be a part of. So I am really happy. That's going to be Friday at 8 p.m. In Boca Raton. Please come out and enjoy the show. It's really one of the best shows in town. We basically go up and do an entire improvised set of comedy. So the audience can suggest things. The comics, I believe, who are on the shows put in suggestions as well that get fed into the feed. But basically they'll have a little plasma screen TV right there next to the comics, and they just put something random up there and we go with it. So everybody who's in the show is kind of coming in, you know, guns a-blazing, ready to go, on the edge. There's no pre-planned material. So for you guys, if you like that kind of stuff, you like crowd work, you like, more on the spot, Riff Roulette is your absolute one-stop shop for all that kind of comedy.
Interesting thing. Where do they find that plasma TV? Because plasmas have been out.
A plasma screen TV?
Yeah.
Well, it's what they put up on the thing. They're not going to put an OLED, $500 TV. It's from 2004, dude.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. So,
yeah.
If they want, I have an old tube TV.
Well, that's too heavy.
Gotcha. So it's up and
the plasma screens were the first that had the light plastic casing that they could put up on the wall.
And they've kept it up there the whole.
They've kept it up.
Gotcha.
There. It works. It works.
It does its job.
Why would you if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Well, I will say too, a couple of weeks ago, when we first talked about the Riff Roulette, you were really excited about it. I remember when I was looking at some of the clips afterwards. So I'm happy. I won't be there because I got to work for you at the Improv that day. But I'm happy to see that you're going up there.
Yeah.
Kill it. But another shout out. One of the reasons that's able to happen is because we have a new hire at the Improv.
That's right.
Our boy Jay Milley.
Yes,
so
sir.
he'll be holding it down with me that day. So big shout out, Jay. another local comedian, and hopefully we'll be featuring him here on the comedy calendar a bunch of times.
So he actually does a show called the Master Debaters. He does it once a month. It kind of goes as a structured, kind of like Riff Roulette though, improvised debate show. So the people that are on the stage, they don't know what the debate's going to be. They pull a little suggestion out of a hat, and then either of them, not only do they not know what the topic is going to be, they don't know what side they're picking on it. So then they go back and forth, the two comics debate, and a panel of judges, they get to decide who wins the debate, and it's actually in a season structure. So they'll have people win in a preliminary round, then they move on, and there's a whole final. Actually, Zach Newford was just named the season 1 final finale champion. So shout out to Zach and shout out to Jay for doing that. Really, really fun shows. But next time that Jay Millie has one, we're going to have him on the show, and we're going to have him kind of talk about it. We're going to put up some clips too, so you guys can get a better idea of what the show's like. But it's really funny. Master Debaters. Check it out. I think they have their own page now. So if you just look up Master Debaters on Instagram, you'll be able to check it out. Me and Art both follow it, so you'll see our follows there if you're connected through our social medias. 100%. But going back to the Riff Roulette though, I think it's a lot of fun because most people would think it would handicap a comic, giving them, improvised stuff, just putting it out there randomly. But, I think it only makes us stronger. And it's really fun because the comics that are picked for this, Casey and Eric, they know who they're selecting. So everybody on there, they're all quick-witted guys. They're all people who are going to have a good time and make sure that they don't look handicapped on stage. You know what I mean? Right. They're gonna be giving it to you really fast. So moving on to the weekend that we have coming to the Miami Improv really quickly. We had Jonathan Van Ness scheduled for this weekend. He had to reschedule. His shows are actually going to be happening, I believe, in April. But if you look at the Miami Improv, if you look at not the comedy calendar, but if you look at the Miami Improv events calendar on our website, you can go and you'll see he's coming in 2025. So if you had tickets for that show, don't worry. They've already been transferred over. If the new dates don't work, you can reach out to us at miamiimprovboxoffice.com. Send us your order number and we'll be able to help you out. No problem. But he does have these new dates. If you're interested in that show, you can check out those new dates and get tickets. But now what is going to be happening at the Improv is Benji Brown. And I'm really excited because Benji's a local legend. You can catch him all over South Florida radio. He's been a stalwart down here in terms of South Florida comedy for so long. He used to do the Grove Improv and he used to absolutely blow it out of the water. Yeah. He's been working with us at the Improv for so long. We were happy that he was able to come through and kind of pick up the weekend and be able to bring his vibe and his style. It will be my first show.
It's going to be my first time actually watching him perform live, but I remember him from 99 Jams, from Hot 105. Yeah. And this is back in the days when it was still Hot 105, So it's really cool. I'm excited to see. He's got pretty much Saturday, Sunday shows. He's been on the Ricky Smiley show, the radio show recently. So he's been out there working. I'm excited to see how many people he gets to turn out. It's a little bit of a short notice, show, but we'll be there ready to welcome everybody to the Miami Improv and make sure they have a good time.
Yeah, no, I couldn't be more excited for those shows because anytime Benji comes through, it's always a party. Like Benji brings that energy and so does his audience. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Absolutely. Going over to Dania, though, this is just kind of a PSA for you guys. Unfortunately, the shows are sold out. So if you want to try and get tickets, maybe there might be some open table seating that may happen at Dania Beach. You're going to have to contact the Dania Beach box office in order to get better information. But as of right now, from what we can see, from the information that we can gather, Dania Beach is sold out this weekend for Nurse John. And he's doing the short staff tour. He's like in the title, he's a nurse. He really is a nurse. That's not a joke. That's not a character. That's not something he's playing. He really is a nurse, and he's been doing this comedy tour where he just talks about, being a nurse, the trials and tribulations, making it funny, doing the jokes, basically like having a mental breakdown like at work, but on stage. So it's applicable and it's palatable and people like it. And it's funny because he has on his page, he said, he's been touring all across the country and he's been selling out all across the country because, would you believe it, there's nurses in every city. You can go anywhere in this country and there will be at least 200 to 300 nurses. Now, the one thing is, what is happening at the hospital the nights that he's performing?
Yeah,
what's going on?
I'm hoping that there's enough, a couple nurses from here, a couple nurses from there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the hotel.
It's just the day shift nurses,
right?
The ones that because the reality is, if you're a nurse, all the night shift and all the red eye nurses, the ones that get those shifts, those are the new girls and the new guys. Those are the people that have just started, just got out of nursing school. It's like you get the disgustingly bad shifts. in the ICU doing it at 3 a.m.
That's right.
But the people who have the money to go see, to see John and see him perform this weekend. The veterans. Yeah, they're working, they're working from 11 to 5. They're doing a normal schedule. So
I will say Nurse John, he has a very popular podcast called I Beg Your Pardon.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that's into the ups and downs of the healthcare industry, definitely check out his podcast. Yeah, like you said, I mean, he's very, very popular with nurses. All 5 shows sold out in 30 minutes. So the guy's doing it right. So big props. And, unfortunately, we won't even be able to make it to that show. It's all 5 shows are already sold out. But I'm looking forward to hear about it. A couple of people I know will be there, so I'm looking forward to hear about it next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's one of those cool shows where there's a few other ones. Like I think there's a tour right now currently going around with teachers that do comedy that they do. I think it's called Board Teachers is the name of the organization. But regardless, it's cool seeing these like professions that are kind of like finding an outlet and a pivot in comedy and then being able to translate that into a very, very specific audience. Because in reality, a lot of comedians, not just if you're a nurse or a comic or whatever it is, it's about finding your niche, finding your audience, making sure that you can continuously bring people out to shows and have fun nights. It's as much as you can enjoy having an intimate show for maybe 50 to 30 people. At the end of the day, it's about filling out arenas, filling out venues, filling out clubs, right. and making sure that happens. And I think it's really cool seeing people that are outside of the direct comedy realm finding that lane and being able to produce that, because it's just inspiring for me as a comic myself. You know what I mean? 100%. Moving on, we're having our turkey contest next week at the Miami Improv, and I wanted to shout that out very quickly right here, because if you want to sign up, there may still be a few slots available. So go to the turkey contest page on the Miami Improv website. If you go and you click on it as if you're going to buy tickets, in the description at the bottom, there'll be the sign-up email. Just email them directly if you want to compete. It's a lot of fun. Last year's winner, Redondo Gomez, I think he gets an automatic participation. I'm not sure, but there's going to be some heavy hitters. People come out swinging, and it's going to be a lot of a competition. Rolando actually was also one of the comedians that moved through on Florida's Funniest Comedian competition. He was a semifinalist representing Miami. So these are the kind of people that come through and try and do this. So if you want to come out and you want to try and win a free turkey at the Miami Improv, by all means, come sign up. Or if you want to just watch a show where a lot of the comics are going to be bringing their A game and having a good time on, I believe it's Wednesday, correct, of next week at the Miami Improv?
No, it's the 19th, which is a Tuesday.
Got you. So it's going to be next Tuesday at the Miami Improv. Like I said, by all means, please pull up, enjoy.
So I actually will be performing and competing on that show. So I got approval to compete. So I'll be trying to bring as many people out. Anyone that wants to come out, all you have to do is say Art Roche at the door. You get in for free, and you won't have to pay any tickets or anything like that. We do have a 2-drink minimum inside, but it's a Miami Improv. Great drinks all the way around. And like you said, we're going to have all the local comedians bringing out their best A game, best material. And whoever goes home with a frozen turkey. So, I mean, the winner that goes home with a frozen turkey. So
absolutely. And it's a good turkey. Every single year we make sure it's a good poundage and make sure it's going to feed a couple people. So by all means, come out, enjoy that show. That's going to be coming up next week at the Miami Improv. We'll be talking about it again on Monday, but we just wanted to let you guys know in case you wanted to try and sign up and get involved with the show. That was this week in South Florida comedy, though, guys. I want to first off thank my co-host Art Roche for doing a great job today. Thank you, Art. Anything you want to add before we head out of here?
Today is Veterans Day, and so big shout out to all the veterans out there. I usually wear a little Veterans Day pin. I couldn't find it this morning, so in honor of those guys, I'm wearing a red, white, and blue thong. So for the rest of the day, I
feel like they feel that honor deeply, deeply inside of them. Congrats. I'm going to take a look at that later. But one thing that I will say also, guys, I want to shout out really quickly our producer here in the studio, Rachel. She's behind the camera. She's doing all the flipping. She's here every single show, and she is the engine behind this Ferrari. So just a quick shout out to her. Every single graphic, everything that you see that pops up on screen, that's all her doing. So big shout out before we get out of here to Rachel. Thank you so much, Ray. You're the best. Moving on, though, guys, thank you so much. It's been a great week in comedy, and we're looking forward to a really good week. We'll be right here again on Monday next week, recapping everything that's going on, what's happening, and what's going to be happening in South Florida comedy. Until then, thank you, guys. Keep laughing.